It was the morning of day 5. I still felt sore from hardly sleeping and the hard work I had put in the last night. But I could not afford to relax. Hugh had told me that zombie activity would increase every 7th night. Traders would lock themselves in and any sane person would not be going outside during those nights. So I had to get ready for whatever was coming for me. At the same time, I still felt intrigued by the prospect of finding one of the legend of Navezgane, the famous survivor called Capp. I had found some supplies kindly left by him for future survivors, but no sign of the man himself or of his legendary treasures. So I did what I had to do and kept slaving for Chen. As usual, she was nice. Well,
Amazing.
much nicer than Hugh
How do you
anyway.
like your reward?
But her rewards were seriously lackluster.
You know, fantastic. Hope to see you soon.
Nevertheless, I did job.
So, now that you have some money to spend, we're running a 10% off sale for the rest of the day. Safe out there. I've got just the job for someone. Thanks, hon. I knew you wouldn't let me down.
After job.
You're looking kinda rough. You didn't get bit, did you? We always need someone to... I had a good feeling about you.
After job.
Well, congratulations. I can make my payment to the Duke now. We're always looking... Oh, thank goodness. I couldn't find anyone to do that job.
After job.
Well, that didn't take long. Nice work. I think I've got a job. Oh, this is a dangerous one. Try not to, get radiated. Thanks for letting me take care of you.
After job.
If you were
And
here,
although
good
I was
job.
rewarded,
I knew you could do
it wasn't worth the risk. In the afternoon, I found some time to put some wood and tools together and fashion myself a makeshift workbench. An old engine and bucket were combined into a cement mixer of sorts. The base needed reinforcements. With all the building materials and my newly made tools, I started to improve my defenses. The zombies being single-minded, as not to say stupid creatures, I had an idea for what was to come. While I was improving my defenses, a small horde of zombies showed up. So when I had cleaned them up, I finished my construction for the day. I had an idea how to use the zombie's stupidity against them. Going to Jan to ask whether she could find a place for me to hide during the coming nights, I was yet again disappointed. She was,
rough.
as usual, totally
You didn't
selfish.
get bit, did you?
Yet she
You need some
still
work?
asked another favor of
This
me.
is dangerous work.
This time, once again, I was to clear out the building for her. I was starting to get the impression that she simply wanted to depopulate the city and the burnt forest to be safe for herself. The reward for the job was mediocre at best.
Hello, traveler.
Even the
Wow, I
so-called
didn't think you
extra
had it in you.
award she
Good
offered
job.
didn't really help a lot. A crate of ammo would just have done fine. Anyway, she showed me where Joel lived. Apparently Joel was the head of the whole trading outpost operation. The trip took me through the burnt forest and back into the woodland. And after a lot of driving, I came upon Joel's compound. Joel himself, much like Jan, was very pleasant but really only had his own benefit in mind. At least he gave me some money for the stuff I had collected and sold me a helmet light in return. That may come in helpful. Leaving his compound, I asked him whether he had some news about Capp. He really didn't, but he was quite sure people had seen Capp around the big lake to the west. Driving there, I came upon an abandoned mobile home. And I knew I was on the right track when a zombified vulture jumped me. Capp used to breed these birds, and finding one was a good sign. There wasn't any trace of the man himself though, so I continued on. The lake was beautiful and I could well imagine somebody like Capp living there. There was an island in the middle of the lake and I thought that this may be a nice spot to camp on, so I took a swim, but I found the island to be deserted. I searched some of the houses on the shores of the lake, but except for the walking remnants of the former owners, I basically found nothing. Could it be that Capp had since changed that and all this search was for nothing? Driving back towards my makeshift home and seeing the sheer vastness of this place, I wondered whether I would ever be able to find Capp or his treasure. Back in the relative safety of my base, I realized that the increased zombie activity Hugh had warned me about was just one day away, so I decided it was time to improve my defenses even more. I'd given up any hope that one of the traders would be willing to shelter me during that night. Early on the next day, I headed back up north to see Trader Hugh. He warned me once again of the coming night. He called it a blood moon.
There's a blood moon coming.
He wasn't any nicer than usual, but at least he gave me a tip. Capp had a favorite spot way up north. He even had a Christmas celebration there with all his friends a year or so ago. So although I was freezing my Richard off on this mini bike, I decided to drive further north. Hugh's description was pretty spot on. I found this abandoned stadium in the snow. Unfortunately, it was inhabited by some cougars and other unpleasant creatures. But still, I tried to get a good look around. I even did some digging, hoping I would find something. But with all those buggers around, I decided it would be best to leave this place and not die in the cold snow. Back at Trader Jen's, I decided I was not going to sit around idly waiting for the sun to go down, and took yet another job from her. Also, she was selling a pump shotgun.
I got job. Thanks,
This was
son.
going to come
I
in
knew you
handy.
wouldn't let me down. Thanks for letting me take care of you.
Even with all the improvements I had made to my base and with the significant firepower I was rocking at that point, I still had a nasty surprise prepared for the zombies. They were going to be shocked when they find out. I was out and about scavenging when I noticed the sky was indeed turning red. A blood moon, just as Hugh had told me. So this was what I had built. Hopefully it was going to save my life. And then I waited. Suddenly, when I thought this may pass without anything happening, all hell broke loose. night everything went quiet again, and I got some much needed sleep. The next morning I decided to take my chances and rode off south. I had gone north, east and west without much success, so I decided to go looking for signs of Capp down south. The area beyond the burnt forest was much more arid, a desert of sorts. The first building I came upon was an abandoned pharmacy. That wouldn't be the worst place to hide out in, would it? But just as I have come to expect, I only found a lot of zombies and no sign of Capp whatsoever. I stocked up on medical supplies though, not bad in these circumstances. Driving further south, I came upon an abandoned self-storage facility with a flag flying over it. I've come to associate this flag with a trading outpost. And it really was. I met Trader Bob inside, who by far was the nicest of the bunch I'd met so far. I decided to take a job from him.
Can you do me a favor? Godspeed.
This job led me to an underground cave. That surely could have been a hideout for somebody. Well, indeed, somebody had lived there before, but no sign of Capp to be found.
Here you go, friend. Howdy.
So I decided to keep on searching. I found deserted army posts. Even a funeral parlor. Still no sign of Capp, so I decided to make my way home. Judging from the number of birds though, I must have come close to Capp. Weary and exhausted, I settled in for yet another night.